Hey everyone! Today I'm diving into two big terms you've probably heard thrown around, GDP and GNP. They sound similar, but they tell very different stories about a country's economy. Stick with me, and by the end of this video, you'll be explaining this stuff to your friends like a pro. Let's jump in. First up, GDP, that's Gross Domestic Product. Think of it as the total value of everything produced inside a country's borders. We're talking goods like cars, textiles, and mangoes, plus services like IT consulting, street food stalls, or even your barber visit. If it's made or done within the country, it counts. Doesn't matter who makes it. Foreign companies, local businesses, even tourists buying saris, it's all part of GDP. Let's make it real. Imagine India. A Tata Motors factory in Pune counts for India's GDP. A Samsung plant in Noida? Yup, that counts too, even though Samsung's a South Korean company. Why? Because it's produced in India. But if Tata opens a factory in the UK, that production doesn't count for India's GDP, it's outside the borders. Now let's talk GNP, Gross National Product. This one's all about who produces the stuff, not where. GNP measures the total value of goods and services made by a country's residents or citizens, no matter where they are in the world. So, it's less about the land and more about the people tied to that country. Back to our example. That Tata factory in the UK? If it's owned and run by Indian workers or an Indian company, the profits they send back home do count for India's GNP. But that Samsung plant in Noida? It doesn't count for India's GNP because it's not owned by Indian residents. Instead, it might count for South Korea's GNP if Samsung's sending profits back to Seoul. So, here's the big difference in a nutshell. GDP asks, what's being produced inside this country? GNP asks, what are this country's people producing anywhere in the world? It's like GDP is about the land, and GNP is about the loyalty to a nation's residents. Why does this matter? Well, these numbers tell us different things. GDP is great for understanding the size of a country's economy within its borders. Think factories in Chennai, tech hubs in Hyderabad, and local jobs. GNP, though, shows how much a country's people are contributing globally, which is huge for nations like India, with millions of citizens working abroad in places like the Gulf, the US, or the UK. Here's a fun fact. For some countries, GDP and GNP are super close, like India, because a lot of production happens domestically. But for others, like Ireland, GDP is way bigger than GNP. Why? Tons of foreign companies like Google and Apple set up shop there, boosting GDP, but the profits often flow out to foreign owners, so GNP is smaller. Let's wrap this up with a quick story. Imagine two countries, Workland and Profitopia. Workland has tons of foreign factories, so its GDP is huge, but its citizens don't own much abroad, so GNP is smaller. Profitopia's citizens own businesses all over the world, so its GNP is massive, even if its local GDP isn't as big. Same planet, different vibes. And that's the deal with GDP versus GNP. Next time you hear these terms, you'll know exactly what's up. If you loved this breakdown, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell for more economic videos. Drop a comment below. Tell me, what other economic topics should we tackle next? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.